Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Young, Free and Coupled. My name's Shamika.
And my name is Issa.
And today we have a very special guest. This guest was born in Brazil in 1964. He had his first publication in a local newspaper at the tender age of 11 years old. He studied at the Joe Kubik School of Cartoon and Graphic Arts. And he was also an illustrator of Marvel, DC, and more importantly, the Action Bible.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, please welcome Mr. Sergio Cariello.
All right. Great to be here.
Hi, Sergio.
Hi, Isa and Shamika. Yes.
Yeah. he got it though. He
Yeah.
He got it. That's right. So guys, obviously we're very, as you can tell, we're
excited.
Yes, we're really excited. Okay, and first things first, I want to say thank you very much to Sergio for allowing us to talk with him.
Yes.
Okay, and this is like what I've kind of alluded to on the podcast, okay, which is like we're gonna have like a series of people that we find very interesting, that have done things in our lives. Yeah, they've inspired us. They've made us want to do something. They've made us learn something, and it's just a nice conversation that we're gonna have. So you can learn about this person because we want you to know about them too. All right.
And Sergio has inspired us. I might as well just tell you guys, because he illustrated the Action Bible, and the Action Bible was given to my then 8-year-old son by his nan. That's how he was, like, before that he used to read his own Bible, but the Action Bible, it just kind of like brought everything more alive because it's in comic form. After that, my 7-year-old son asked for one as well. So, you know, my son kept on asking me questions about people in the Bible. I can't say characters because they're real people in the Bible.
Of course.
I really couldn't answer it. So it led me to like search more and want to read more. So, you know, this Action Bible is more than just a thing. God has used the creators of the Action Bible to work through us and probably through a whole load of other families, because it's still something that sells to this day. So yeah, that's the way that we've been inspired by Sergio through the Action Bible.
Yes, definitely. And one more thing that I think is important to say is, obviously we spoke about this a few episodes ago, but we are born again Christians. Yeah, we are following Jesus Christ, so we want to bring you guys into that part of our lives. We speak about loads of things. We speak about our relationship. We speak
things
about
that we've been through.
things we've been through, things happening in society. But this is the most important part of our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to share it with our listeners and our viewers. It's important to us, and you're going to learn some really cool things today.
Yes. And be inspired by Sergio, just like us.
Amen.
Yes, exactly. So, Sergio, how are you doing? How are things going?
I'm doing great. By the grace of God, yes, I'm fine.
That's good.
And how's wait, I need to remember. Are you in Florida?
Yes.
How is the weather in Florida? Is it still freezing cold?
No, it's not freezing.
Snowing?
It's very comfortable today.
Okay. Okay. So like, we're very happy to have you on our podcast, and we just want to like have a nice conversation. We want to talk about, like, we got questions we really want to ask, and, you know, go in depth a little bit about some things that you've experienced in your life. So there are a few things I've seen, a lot of similarities, okay, in like some of the ways that you've grown up, relationship that you've had with especially with your mother, with your brother, and some parts of your life as you've grown up. So I'm just going to go through some of these questions quickly. All right. Now, in doing my research, I remember reading that your teacher tried to make you draw with your right hand. Okay.
Right.
And you are left-handed.
Yes.
All right. Now, obviously, you've grown up. Now, you've done a lot in life. You've given a lot to the world, drawing with your left hand. So, we've kind of been through that with our children, in their schooling. And, because we're very
Heavily
involved
involved, yeah.
as parents, we kind of went in and spoke to the teachers. But a similar thing happened with you and your mum. I think your mum went to the school and had to have a talk with your teachers.
Right.
So do you think that if you did end up drawing with your left hand, or
Right hand.
with your right hand, sorry, that things will be different now, or do you think it wouldn't have made a difference?
Yeah, I think it would not be much different because my brother uses his right hand and he's doing pretty well. And I know a lot of people that use their right hand and do pretty good. So, as Joe Kubert, one of my instructors and the founder of the school that I went to in New Jersey, used to say, "It's not in your hand, but it's in your mind." So, even if the teacher, held my hands and my feet, my hands, I would try my feet. If they tied up my feet, I would try my mouth, like Joni Eareckson Tada, who's she's a tetraplegic and she uses her teeth to paint. And I remember another instructor at the Cuba school, Tex Blaisdell. He was a great instructor, and he hurt his right hand, and he had to learn to draw with his left hand. So, it's right here in the brain. And the hands are just an extension cord of the motherboard. So I don't think it would make any. It would not stop me.
Yeah. You can't stop something that you were born to do.
Exactly.
You just find another way. Yeah.
That's right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was born to do and called to do, I will find a way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, another thing that I just wanted to ask you was, obviously you grew up in Brazil, and how was your schooling in Brazil growing up as a child? Did you enjoy school? Can you just give us a bit of an insight into that part of your life?
I really enjoyed school when I was growing up. One of my favorite subjects was English. I loved English, and I loved Portuguese. I didn't like math that much, but I constantly drew on every book that I could have my hands on. Even in the church bulletins, I would draw. So a lot of times I was very distracted by my creativity. If the class was not too attractive,
Engaging.
I would go towards filling the paper or anything that I could draw on. I would just fill it in and doodle, But I enjoyed the schooling that I got, and I also went to a Bible school, a Word of Life Bible Institute, 1981, to learn the Word of God there. But I also filled all my books with drawings. Even my quiet time, it was filled with drawings.
Wow.
So I had that desire to draw. Nothing could stop me.
That's right. Nothing can stop you. So, you have said that you knew that you wanted to draw from when you were around 5.
Right.
And when you were, babe, was it 11 years old?
11, right.
Yeah. You got your first publication. So,
right.
In those really young years, what what kind of things did you see that made you realize, or what kind of things happened that made you realize so strongly, yes, I want to draw. That is what I want to do in life.
Yeah, I look at it this way. When I go out and I watch the birds flying, singing the way they do, they have no other way of living but singing and flying the way they do. And I particularly watch how ducks fly, how hawks fly. They each have the unique flight and the unique style and how to do things. Because, there's a creator who designed them to act a certain way. And we are no different. I'm created by a God who thought of me even before the foundation of the earth, just like we design a fork, to do its thing, and a knife to cut. God created Sergio to draw. So my life was no different than other creations that were created to do certain things. So I just responded to something that was instinctively within me to do, a call that I had to do what I had to do, because it was in me and I couldn't help it. It was a natural thing. So I knew what I wanted to do. And I was very inspired by, Disney movies, by comic books, by TV. So I watched so many great creators that created stuff that I thought, oh, I want to do that too. So it was a natural thing. And especially being born in Brazil, we get very Americanized, inheriting, the TV shows, the comic books, the movies, and everything that Americans and you guys too. We all growing up with technology, TV and movie theaters and books. All of those things inspire us as kids to create. So it's a natural thing, but enlarged and stimulated by other artists around me. I observed other art as a kid.
How did you get that job in the newspapers at such a young age?
How did I get what?
That job in the newspaper at such a young age. How was you able to be published?
Okay. Yeah. My mother, she worked in a bank, and she worked for a columnist. His name Paulo Craveiro, and then his column appeared in a kid's supplement within the newspaper.
Okay.
And she told him that her son drew well, and then and I got involved in doing it for the kids section. So I created my own comic strip called Frederico the Detective.
Wow.
Yeah. And every week I had something published in that newspaper. And I also do caricatures, political characters for the columnists. Wow. And I got paid to do the characters.
Paid.
But I remember going to school and my classmates were asking, what's going to happen to Frederico? I'm telling you, you have to read it next week.
You have to wait.
Yeah. You have to wait, man. I can't give you I can't tell you what's happening yet.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is really cool, because Ezekiel, one of our sons, they both of our eldest children, they draw a lot.
Yeah, but Ezekiel likes to write books.
Yeah.
He gets like A4 paper. He gets about 3 pieces of paper, folds them into a book. So he has like six pages. Yeah. He does his front cover and he writes stories with his pictures. And he really loves that. He really enjoys doing that.
He's made a character and everything.
Yeah,
So,
one day he sat there and he made about 3 books.
Yeah.
3 books. Like I didn't have to say, oh, find something to do. They just, it's just, when it's just in you, like what you said. That's just something that maybe I need to find a way to nurture that, or to help him, because he naturally, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a kid, because I didn't understand of the specs, the right specs to publish something, I had no idea that artists would draw bigger to be printed smaller. So my comic strip was illustrated to size. I had no idea.
So you always just did the small drawing.
I did the small. I did it the size. So I had no idea, and I had no fear of making a mistake. So I didn't use a pencil. I went straight to the magic marker. I didn't plan. I did it when I was a kid. As I grew older, I stopped doing that because I realized it was much better to plan and do pencil stage and then be able to edit.
And that's such a good point as well, because when you are children, you are so fearless. It's like fear is a learned thing. The older you get, the more you like, oh, I can't do this. Exactly. Or people tell you, teachers tell you, parents tell you accidentally, and it's not something that you're born with. It's something that you learn.
I think sometimes it's down to parents play a big role, because you have to. You're very good at that, babe. You're always saying, okay, like what do my children want? Like, what do they want to do?
Yeah.
You're really good.
I try my hardest. My hardest with the circumstances we have, like because where we live we live on the 3rd floor. So my son, sometimes he runs around banging on the floor, and I'm like, you can't run because there's people that live downstairs. But then there becomes a point where I have to stop and say, okay, do I put my child first, or do I put the people downstairs first? Because he's just 2 years old and he doesn't have a garden. So am I going to stop this energy he has, and because it's kind of like muting a child, to stop them from being free, because they're just free spirits.
They are. You can see
so if I keep on saying stop, that could be stopping more than just his feet from running around. That could be saying stop to a whole, God knows what my son was created for. I don't know as much as God does. So for me to keep on saying stop, I have to know what I'm doing. So we have to think.
I think to be creative, we must learn never to grow up. We cannot grow up. If we want to be creative, we want to be like a kid. And I think that's a key word for heaven, because Jesus said you must be like a child.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So in order to see things heavenly, you got to be a child.
Humble yourself.
You cannot grow up for certain things. You must mature for other things, but for creativity, you must be like a kid. And it just like Walt Disney, he thought in doing what he did because he had imagination. So he was not fearful of the outcome. He would just do things as he saw fit. And as illustrators, and I often taught, because I became a teacher later for students, and I would tell them the best way to learn to draw better is to be fearless on the paper. Not worried about the specs and the boundary, but in the classroom, that's where you do all your bad drawings. Also, Chuck Jones, Bugs Bunny creator, he said the best way to become better artistically as an artist, each of us, and he learned that from his teacher too, but he said that all of us have 1,000 bad drawings, and the best way to get better is to draw them out. Draw them out.
Get them out of your system, kind of.
System. Yeah, you gotta
just keep going. Yeah.
So some students would be afraid of doing certain things and would never finish anything. So I would have to train them. No, you have to let it go.
Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it go and let it be ugly. If it must come out ugly before it becomes pretty.
Yeah.
That's a very good outlook to have.
Yeah.
You know?
And that sounds like it. That could relate to a whole load of things, not just art.
Yes.
That could relate to a whole spectrum of things. So yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah, it is important, because that's how children are. Children will just sit down and do stuff and keep doing it over and over. So Sergio is 100% right. So now another thing that I learned about Sergio that's really cool is his name. It means something really powerful. It means serving from a little cart. Yeah?
Yes.
It's like straight to the point. It means a very what's the right word? A very detailed thing, serving from a little cart.
Yeah.
You know, and very specific, that's the word. And I mean,
and very true to who he is.
Yeah, because like the work that you've done, I don't think it will be a little cart though. I wonder what the name would be if it was serving from a big cart. But no, Sergio Cariello is good.
Yeah, it's fitting because again, we go back to God's sovereignty and planning ahead. We act as if life depends on us, and we should act like that. But in the end, we must trust that there is a God behind everything. So our names are given. Parents may think they decided to give their names, but there is some power behind that caused them to choose that specific name that will be fitting for the person. So there is destiny, sovereignty, all mixed in. So my name was fitting for what I do, and especially after having done the Action Bible, because I am carrying the Action Bible in a cart as a servant and being a conduit of God's good news to millions of kids. So it's perfect fitting for the name. And it goes back to, the Creator thinking good works for us to walk in it, as we read it in Ephesians, and also Psalm 139, that God wrote every day of our lives, even before any of them came. So there's always God in it.
Yeah, it's important to keep God in a lot of the decisions that you make.
In every decision.
Yeah, in every decision.
Yeah.
And even us, when we named our children, we were not born again for the first three: Israel, Ezekiel, and Ezra.
No, that's not right. We got baptized while I was pregnant with Israel.
Okay, but I mean,
so we were born again, and then we were going to church, and then after we had the first one, we kind of stopped like reading the word and stuff, and then we got back into it after the third child. So I'm always believing God. I never say I was never born again. I was always born again. I just wasn't working for the Lord and like reading active. The word. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like your thinking, because oftentimes, especially going through mission camps and Christian camps, there is a strong emphasis on that question: when did you accept Christ as your Lord and Savior? And I always like the God's word point of view better in the long scheme of things. God thought of me. He thought of me before the foundation of the earth. So he called me. He predestined me. He thought of me. And I couldn't resist coming to him when it was the right time. I just heard him. So he chose me. I didn't choose him. As Jesus told the disciples, you think you chose me, You didn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
picked you. Why? I'm more towards that. I understand that a lot of people like to think of the choice, the free choice, and all that. But I prefer to emphasize on God's sovereignty for you and me. If we love Him, it's because
Yeah.
He loved us first. If we seek Him, it's because He
Yes.
sought us first. If we have desire for Him, it's because He desired us first. So we are responding. Our choice is in response to His call, but He's involved in it. It's not like we were
just
curious
decided.
and looked,
Yeah.
oh, there's God. No, according to God's word, it's not like that. It is a God who thought of you, and He planned good things for you, and then He called you, and then you heard
Exactly.
His
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
That's right, man. We're getting some good preaching.
You know, even Jesus said, "My sheep know my voice. When I call them,
Yeah.
they will
Yes.
come to me."
And yeah, and
the
that's
truth.
what we did.
Yeah.
We came to the calling.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so-
And obviously we're not perfect by any means, but it doesn't, to me, it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, some people may say, oh, well, you're a hypocrite. You used to do this, or you did this, or yesterday I saw you doing this. Yes, because I am human.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what I have done. God will always forgive me. So I always am able to do what's right in His eyes, no matter what I've done, no matter where I've been, no matter what mistakes I might make. I'm still able to be. God has forgiven me.
Yeah.
He's already forgiven me. So, you know, I can always, you know, He'll never leave me.
Yeah.
Yes, look at God's word. The Action Bible is filled with historical figures, chosen heroes of God, and none of them had a perfect life and stable families. And God never thought, I better not pick this character, afraid of what people might think, what kind of people. No, chose David, and David was no saint. Now, David was wicked, and even though he had his heart towards God, but David sinned greatly. So did Samson, and so did Paul, and so did Peter, and all the apostles, and all the prophets, even Abraham. So chose, erratic characters, faulty, disturbed individuals, so he could get the glory, not the characters, and he could say it is by grace,
Exactly.
not by
Yeah.
merit.
Yeah.
So, so we are called, even though we don't deserve it. We are used, even though we need to be cleaned. We need to be changed. We need to be worked like a precious stone, filled with dirt that needs work before its essence within comes out. A lot of work to do. So that's who we are. You know, we are all equalized by our falling short of God's glory. But Jesus is the only one who can take the credit. We place our credit on Him. And then when God sees us, He sees us through Christ, right? Because He is our high priest. He died for us on that cross. So when God sees us, He sees Christ paying our debt, and we are placed as perfect. We are placed as reaching because of Christ.
Exactly. Not because of us, because of Christ. Exactly. So, Sergio, while you were saying that, that made me think of a story that I've heard you tell, and it's such a powerful story. Okay, it's a story about when you had a car that you were you were meaning to sell it. I think you were meaning to sell it to your pastor. And what eventually happened was, like, in the end, you couldn't sell it to him. You had to kind of give it to him. Yeah.
Right.
Can you tell our listeners and viewers that story? Because I love that story. When I heard it, I was so touched.
It was like this.